From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a big night of evenings LALATE as exciting details come in about your fourth stimulus check, that monthly stimulus check that would land in your bank account starting in the month of July. The biggest payout you've ever seen in the history of this channel. Also big news about that SSI reform that would take your benefits and lift them and give you a big new benefit check. Going forward this year, I have all those details happening across the board. Meantime, Tesla surprises, and I don't just mean an SNL host surprise. I have this shocker about Tesla after Wall Street closed. Meantime, what's going on with this White House and the lack of economic clarity about taxes? And why were the comments by one person today so misguided about what's happening under fifth stimulus? Then, what's happening with Miguel Cardona, and why have we not seen that student loan debt forgiveness memo? I have all the details in a big night. As a big exciting details of an evening's LA unfolds, I'm excited you're here. Let's get to it. This is Evenings LA. Good evening, everybody. It's a big night of Evenings LA as America goes into a Monday evening, and minutes ago, Tesla reported corporate earnings. It showed that Tesla did well Q1 2021, but not particularly too well. That would suggest that this economy is fully rebounded. Great news for fourth stimulus. And with that, I'm going to get to the fourth stimulus, those monthly stimulus checks in 1 second. But first, make sure you subscribe. Also, like this video and consider becoming a member as this channel now starts day one of its second year. Yesterday was our birthday. And say hi, I'm in the live chat. Say hi, how are you? Let's get to the breaking details. Fourth stimulus is heating up because of a series of economic data that came out today, a series of economic data that came out yesterday and this weekend and last week, and more that's coming out tomorrow and Thursday. Let's get to all those details. What is fourth stimulus? When are you getting it? How much? How does it work? And where would you see it? Let me go over all those details. Coming up late in this broadcast, I'll be going over SSI reform, the incredible big money you're going to be getting, the student loan debt forgiveness, the business grant that went live today, and the other shockers out of the White House. All right, that incredible relief for those monthly stimulus checks under the fourth stimulus package. It's the money that you want, and it's the money you need. It's a monthly stimulus check, and fourth stimulus is aided as by a monthly process that needs to start sooner rather than later. Let's go over how much money is at issue. That fourth stimulus check would start to land in your bank account in the month of July. It depends if you're looking at senators or you're looking at House members. Let's compare. House members would pay you a stimulus check every month for the rest of the pandemic, plus an additional year. That could amount to nearly 18 checks. The senators want to give you a stimulus check from now to December. And then who are the movers and shakers? The House members are progressives. The senators are moderates. The senators have a lot of other provisions. They may want to slide in there. Ron Wyden may want to slide in his $6,000. Elizabeth Warren may want to slide in her SS200. More about that later in this recording. And then how much are the monthly checks? The House members have put it in writing. They're going to pay $2,000 the first month, $1,000 per month thereafter. The senators, the amount is unknown. But word on the street is this is how much the senators would pay. Yes, this is your check. This is just for one person. If you make less than $75,000, this is you. $2,000 a month over 6 months, $12,000. Or $1,400 a month over 6 months, $8,400. This is you. This is the single biggest payout that any viewer on this channel has ever seen. To which viewers always ask me, do I think it's going to happen? Yes. There were only two major factors that could derail it. One, bipartisan support. That's not happening. And two, the economy fully rebounding by July. That's also not happening. More about that coming up later. But here's what you need to know. 1st. When is it going to land? July. When is the vote going to be? July. What day in July? July 4th, says Speaker Pelosi and Leader Schumer. When would we get the stimulus check? In the month of July. For which month? For July. Would they send them out in waves? No, they can't. They got to send them out quickly because you got to get a check every month. How would they send out these checks? They would likely do something like a debit card that they would just replenish. This mailing and printing of checks, not going to happen. Too difficult, too time consuming. Just sending out direct deposits onto something you already have. Very easy breezy. What is forced stimulus dependent upon, and where does it go, and how does it get there? It's dependent upon a reconciliation process, starts in the House, goes to the Senate, then goes back to the House, and then goes back to the Senate again. It's a two-step process. It takes 2 months. They have to start it by mid-May to get it done by July. So what's important for you to understand is the House members and the Senate members are going to put those stimulus checks in there, not the president. The pay-fors for the package are still up in the air. We've heard about corporate taxes. We've heard about inheritance taxes. More about the lack of clarity about that later in this recording. But why do I say you're going to get forced stimulus? Because all the possibilities that could derail it are not happening. First, the bipartisan support, not happening. The president's trying to look like he's getting bipartisan support. And a new report released just tonight says that the Republicans are at a conference at what you call like a retreat today. And they're going to use the president's fourth stimulus lack of bipartisan support as the reason to win the House next year. They're going to hold it up as the poster child for it. So where are they on this? Well, the Republicans have never really moved any better than where they were on day one. They won't give $2 trillion. They'll remove the climate. And initially, they'll give him $600 to $800 billion. But since then, they've told the president they're not even doing that. They'll give him $500 billion. Away the president has to go to reconciliation. Step number 2, is the economy rebounding any faster than we thought before? No. We're going to see the new unemployment numbers this week. We're also going to see the inflation number this week. But both of the numbers are not supposed to signal any faster recovery than we feared before. Remember the fear. It was about 2 weeks ago when the unemployment claims came in and dropped 250,000 in 1 week. We aren't doing that currently anymore. Last week we were flat. There's 16 million Americans unemployed and 8 million jobs missing. So our growth rate shows us full recovery in December. That's fine for purposes of forced stimulus. That is fine. Any full recovery by July is worrisome, and we don't currently show that growth rate. And minutes ago, we had more confirmation. What is another confirmation of no faster growth rate? That number is the corporate earnings. Q1 or first quarter 2020 corporate earnings are coming in from a series of businesses this week. And first to report just minutes ago was Tesla. The number was not any stronger than what Wall Street was expecting. And that Monday report from Tesla came in and it showed that Tesla did really record numbers, but nothing too through the roof. Coming up tomorrow is Alphabet, Microsoft, and Starbucks. Starbucks is expected to be a lagger, so that may signal we actually need more stimulus. That's forced stimulus. What's the other items that will support forced stimulus? The Federal Reserve. This week, Jerome Powell will be speaking, and in advance of his Fed notes, insiders say he's not going to change his policy. Incredible, great news. Now, Jerome Powell's position has always been that we need stimulus if we don't have jobs restored and we don't have unemployment solved. Here's Jerome Powell. Well, his position will be unchanged this week, says insiders. He's going to continue to say 16 million Americans are unemployed and 8 million jobs are missing. We need stimulus. It's easy. It's easy. Away we go. Who writes the bill? The House. How do they write the bill? Well, let me explain. Forced stimulus would start with a reconciliation procedural bill. The House members under Nancy Pelosi's watch will write a bill that says we agree to recon. Nothing substantive, just procedural. Off to the Senate. Senate approves it. Off to the president, signs it. That tow truck has now passed over the finish line. Time to go back and pick up the tow hitch. Now is the substantive part. The president will have substantive parts he wants in there. He'll recommend infrastructure and roads and climate and water. But at that point, the House members could put in monthly stimulus checks. They don't have to, but they certainly can, and they've certainly clamored to do it. Those senators have written bill after bill, whether it's Talia and Jalapal that introduced that standalone bill to the House. They said they wanted a stimulus check to start and run for 18 plus months of $1,000. If the House members don't put it in there, don't worry, the senators will put it in there. They'll put it in there during the vote-a-rama. That is a 2-day event when the bill lands back in the Senate, and during that 2-day period, they will put it during that vote-a-rama. The recon process was secured by Leader Schumer by getting that major win from the parliamentarian several weeks ago. And that parliamentarian win is what signals vote-a-rama is around the corner. That's for stimulus. Meantime, what's happening with all the other standalone items before we get to fifth stimulus? Well, Ron Wyden's $6,000 could slide into fourth stimulus, I think. Ron Wyden's position for fourth stimulus is great. How does he do it? His proposal is to fix PUA, which is going away in September. So he wants to pay you $250 a week for 6 months per year, as often as you need it, through the federal government, a replacement for PUA for my independent contractors, my sole practitioners, and my gig workers. How's about Elizabeth Warren's wealth tax? She has a bill for that. Would that fit into the fourth stimulus? I don't think so. I think it's too polarizing. It's a wealth tax to tax billionaires and trillionaires. Now, ironically, later in this broadcast, you're going to hear the president does not support a wealth tax, but does support taxing poorer people, people with six figures, instead of taxing people who are trillionaires. What? Yeah, that's coming up later in this broadcast. But could Elizabeth Warren's wealth tax push SS 200 to the door? Yes. And that wealth tax gets a congressional hearing this week, and that draws the attention back to that SS 200. Meantime, what is going on with this president and the provisions of what else is in fourth stimulus? One of the things that I have not detailed for you, because I don't know the answer, is what else is in fourth stimulus? Well, it's roads and bridges and climate and water and, yeah, but which ones? Don't know. Don't know. Which taxes are touched under fourth stimulus? Don't particularly know. We've heard about corporate taxes being modified. Joe Manchin said, I'll go up a few percentage points. President said, I want to go up more. Not particularly anything scary about it. We've heard about inheritance tax being taxed at a higher rate under fourth stimulus. What's inheritance tax? Grandma dies and leaves you a Cadillac. You have to pay inheritance tax on it. Your uncle dies and leaves you a Superman comic book. You have to pay inheritance tax on it. That's what inheritance tax is. And does the president want to raise that tax bracket as well? That's what some insiders say. Not particularly clear. But what is particularly clear is that fifth stimulus is going to have SSI reform. Goodness, this is really exciting, great news. We have wanted this exciting, great news since last year, and we got that incredible, great news as those congressional leaders wrote the president just days ago saying, you promised it, you wrote it, let me cite where you said you're going to do it, you haven't done it, we're going to do it for you. Oh my. They go in very deep. They cite by footnote his promised words during the transition papers, during his run for presidency, where he was going to reform SSI. And they say, you either put it in fifth stimulus to September, or we put it in there. And shortly after this commercial break, I will go over the big exciting news of what's going on with this big SSI reform. How much money could you get? How will this happen? And how you see this money. It's great news across the board. I'll have all that for you coming up right as commercial break. Stay with me. I'll be back after 60 seconds with that and more about student loan forgiveness. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues on LALATE after this. LA Late Night comes up next. Are you going to join me for that exciting detail? I can't wait to see you, and nor can Javita Late and Sir Lloyd. That excitement's coming up next. LA Late Night coming up in 2 hours from now. As we go into a big evening across the board, we are really excited for where we're going for fourth stimulus, for fifth stimulus, for that student loan debt forgiveness and SSI reform. I have all those big details coming up in just a second. But first, let's cut back to where we are right now. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Also, like this video, and if you're not a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, accounts will be able to be. It's a big night, and I'm so excited for you to join me. Thank you for joining me on a big night across the board. Let me get to the big details right now. What a night it is. Fourth stimulus is heating up. That is that big stimulus package that pays you the biggest payout you've ever seen on this channel. But fifth stimulus is also heating up with SSI reform. How is this SSI reform going to work? Let me go over all the details. Also, say hi. I'm in the live chat. SSI reform starts with the following. It includes SSI, SSDI, Social Security and Rural Benefits, and it's part of the fifth stimulus package. It will have an increase your benefits limits, an increase of asset limits, an inflationary benchmark, and then remove the income exclusion and remove the marriage penalty. Let me go over all the details now simply. First, they're going to take your benefits and increase your benefits right up. Right away, they're going to move your benefits up to a big new number. Then, going forward, that will be your new number for benefits. If you have multiple benefits, all your benefits will go up. Then, they're going to tie you to inflation. So as inflation goes up every year, your benefits will be tied to inflation. No more COLA. So eggs, milk, and water go up. Gas goes up. So too will inflation, and so too your benefits. Every December, your benefits are reassessed based upon inflation. And inflation is expected to grow 2 to 4% over the next few years. So your benefits are going to go up as well. Then they're taking away the asset cap. Currently $3,000 you can keep on hand for some benefits. They're going to get rid of that. That's a 1984 rule. It's outdated. And then they're going to do a new provision by eliminating the job exclusion, which says you can't work and stay on benefits. They're getting rid of that. And how will that work? It'll allow you to work $1,000, $2,000 a month and keep those benefits and also keep that paycheck. Incredible, great news across the board. And we're not done there. Then they're going to remove the marriage penalty. If you know what the marriage penalty is, you know it's a penalty. It's going away. It is going away, and it's not coming back. To which viewers may ask me, when would this become a reality? When would this SSI reform hit our bank accounts? And how quickly could we see this SSI reform land across the board? The SSI reform would be part of the fifth stimulus package. And so it would start in September, take about 2 months to do a recon, and then you would see the benefits hit in your bank account by the end of the year. Incredible, great news across the board. Now, what also is happening today, and why was there so much confusion across the board? In addition to Tesla reporting corporate earnings, Elon Musk was under fire now in a series of new reports that say that SNL stars do not want to appear opposite him. Interesting. Very, very interesting. But beyond that, there was another twist. And that other twist came from the White House. And it came with that big word that starts with a T and ends with taxes. Taxes. Taxes remains the sort of hidden element of this White House administration. The fourth stimulus package has a change to the tax code. The fifth stimulus package has a change to the tax code. Which tax code? Not told to us clearly. What rate? Not told to us. For who? Not told to us. But today, the press briefing room of the White House had the chief economic counsel advisor to the president, a 40-year-old who's never worked really a day in his life, talking to the press and saying what you are going to get, what you aren't going to get, but still not telling you what's at issue. Let me go over what's happening. Under the fourth stimulus package, we have yet to been told what is really being used to pay for the fourth stimulus package. Insiders say that the fourth stimulus package will not entirely be paid by taxes. Insiders have not made clear to us why it even has to be paid with taxes. In 2020, the Federal Reserve's Jerome Powell said this government can afford a lot more stimulus. We're not spending enough money on stimulus. And even now that we just had the third stimulus package, we still not spent enough money on stimulus. So why do we have the tax? We haven't heard that explanation. Second, the fourth stimulus package reportedly has a corporate tax change, but does it have an inheritance tax change? We haven't heard that explanation as well. And then came the surprising detail from this White House administration today about the fifth stimulus package. Now, here's what's strange about the fifth stimulus package. The fifth stimulus package is September. So why are we talking about a fifth stimulus package now if it's not till September? And if we haven't even written the fourth stimulus package, why are we doing the fifth stimulus package in a press briefing? Moreover, why are we even talking about the fifth stimulus package if we don't even have the deal provisions of the fourth stimulus package? Needless to say, the president did go ahead and have a press briefing today about the fifth stimulus. And that press briefing is going to continue again tomorrow. But what happened today? The president rolled out his chief economic advisor, who's a career politician who has appeared in administration after administration, and as a 40-year-old has barely even worked a day in his life. His income has come from working for the government. And what was his message? His message is that the fifth stimulus package may have a capital gains tax change. Okay, so it may have a capital gains tax change. That's some clarity. Good. We're starting with some clarity. Then press asked what would be the proposed capital gains tax rate change to. Would not answer the question. Well, wait a second. If you're mentioning a change, why not tell us what are the things you're considering? Are you considering this? Are you considering that? Would not answer the question. Okay. But had the conversation stopped there, there would have been nothing to say. But it didn't. That chief economic counsel advisor then said that the fifth stimulus package will have a capital gains change and it won't affect 99% of Americans. Well, wait a second. How do you know if it won't affect 99% of Americans if you haven't decided on the rate? And if you haven't decided on who it applies to, how do you know how it affects people or doesn't affect people? This is where the situation goes off the tracks, because first we're supposed to be told there hasn't been any determination about the rate, but then we're told there is a determination about who's impacted by the rate. That's a little contradictory. That's a little bit contradictory. And as if that was not enough, then the president's team was asked, how are you going to pay for fifth stimulus, which is $1 trillion? Well, we're going to do the corporate tax rate. We're going to do the capital gains tax rate change. For who? We're going to answer the question. Well, wait a second. If the capital gains tax rate is being used to pay for fifth stimulus, and the fifth stimulus is $1 trillion, then you think you're going to raise $1 trillion. It's costs $1 trillion, and you're changing a tax code. You would presume the change is going to generate $1 trillion of revenue for you to pay for the $1 trillion fifth stimulus package. No answer about that as well from the White House. What's going on here? And as if it couldn't been any more peculiar, then, when asked, why are you saying that 99% of Americans will not feel the impact of changing the capital gains tax rate, the 40-year-old administrator, head of economic counsel for the president, who's barely worked a day in his life, said, well, it won't affect 99% of Americans because they're all W-2s. What? At that press briefing, the White House said that virtually all Americans are W-2 employees. Mr. President, I think it's time to roll out another Economic Council advisor. It's just sort of ironic that the current one replaced Larry Kudlow, who in 2020 was notorious for never giving accurate information. And now we have this one under a different administration doing much the same thing. The whole notion that the vast majority of Americans are W-2 employees makes no sense. And why would an economic advisor who's expected to know that's not the case say that? As if it couldn't get any worse. A number one broadcast financial news channel released data today that showed 25% of all stock owners, 25% of all stock owners would be impacted by the fifth stimulus package capital gains tax. That's before we get to property owners that buy and sell real estate, car owners who buy and sell cars, antique owners who buy and sell antiques, flea market owners, Amazon resellers, anyone who buys and sells things are impacted potentially by a capital gains tax. And guess what? They're not W-2s. So not particularly clear why the administration's doing this. And this is on the heels of what you've also been asking about this. Where is the Miguel Cardona letter? The president has been very artful in the last few weeks of talking about his legislative agendas, but not other Democrats' legislative agendas. Whether it's Elizabeth Warren or Chuck Schumer pushing for student loan debt forgiveness in executive orders and bills and meetings in December and November of last year, and then January, February, and March, and the president saying, okay, finally, I'll just have someone write a memo whether it can be done by executive order. When we know it can, when you know Obama did and Trump did, why are we even writing the letter? And then the letter's not produced by Miguel Cardona? What's going on here? What is going on here? Which, and again, circles back, yes, I'll go back, circles back to SSI reform. Remember, that letter by those congressional leaders to the president was not particularly a walk in the park letter. It cites, as you see in this graphic at the bottom, footnote after footnote every time the president promised to provide SSI reform and has yet to do it. Signing his transition papers and saying, you promised to deliver these things, where are these things? Ultimately, here is what's going on at issue. Fifth stimulus this fall is its own beast. As we sit here this evening, we don't know what really else is in fifth stimulus. It will be debuted this Wednesday. Fourth stimulus is getting to the finish line. But every time we hear about this sort of murkiness of fifth stimulus, it causes me concern. I would really like that this White House focus on just fourth stimulus for now, get fourth stimulus done, get it out, get people their stimulus checks, get everyone financially stable, get us moving, and then you can focus on fifth stimulus. And you know what else? It's just sort of obvious. Congress goes on vacation from July to September. So why focus on anything in September now? Let's just get fourth stimulus done. We only got a few more months before these people go on vacation. Let's use our time and effort that's available now before vacation to get fourth stimulus done. And then after we have a beautiful vacation in Mitch McConnell's house, that we come back in September and we focus on fifth stimulus. And with that, I hope you've had a beautiful evening across the board. Coming up tomorrow is a lot of more corporate earnings that could signal where this economy is rebounding at a faster rate than initially thought. Tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday, more corporate earnings. Let's look and see who's reporting tomorrow. Tomorrow it's Alphabet, Microsoft, and Starbucks. And then on Wednesday, it's Boeing, Apple, Ford, and Facebook reports Q1 2021. Then Amazon on Thursday. And finally on Friday, we go into Exxon, Chevron, Clorox, and Colgate. Meantime, the excitement continues here on this channel as LA Late Night kicks up next in 2 hours. It's been a big day, and I thank you for joining me on a beautiful night across the country. As fourth stimulus gets its final push to get to the Congress and get out the door, you need to push Purple Power. Share this video on social media. Tag your elected politicians. Hashtag MSC. Hashtag Purple Power. Get this bill to the finish line. Get it done and get it moving. And as a family, we will get it done together. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. also it's been an incredible 1 year, and away we go into our second year. So make sure you subscribe. Also, like this video. Let's try to do 3,000 likes. And consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Casino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA for more.